The weather is terrible, but what isn't terrible is this camera, the Sony a7S III. I guess a lot of you are watching because you are considering buying this camera. I got you, and I'll cover all the things you probably want to know. At this point, I probably shot on every mainstream camera out there, from Red to Canon to Blackmagic, even Nori Alexa, and of course the trusty Sony cameras like the a7S III. If I could recommend one camera, it would probably be this one. I just ordered the Blackmagic Pixis, but I took a look at this camera and thought, how old is this thing actually? Because I've been using this on basically every shoot over the past couple of years. It was released in October 2020, which means it's over 4 years old. While other cameras get outdated usually after a couple of years, this one definitely is not. And let's start off what makes this camera famous. Having a dual native ISO at 640 and 12,800, this camera basically is still unmatched in low light capabilities. I can't even tell you how many times it helped me out to have this high of a second dual base ISO. It's almost magic. You're in a room that you're gonna think it's way too dark, you push that ISO, and it works. Maybe it's not perfect, but it definitely is better than what you would get from other cameras. And let's get right into image quality, which this thing it looks amazing. As I said, I shot on so many other cameras, sometimes 4 or 5 times more expensive than this one, and the image quality maybe looks this much better and a little bit nicer, better dynamic range or whatever. Here's some of my favorite footage I shot on this camera over the last couple of years. I believe some of these clips literally look like they're taken out of a movie, and that it all comes out of this little thing here is kind of nuts. Another thing this camera has that still a lot of cameras do not have is 4K 120 frames per second. Giving you that 5 times extra looking super crisp slow motion that to be honest I barely even use. Usually I just shoot 4K 60, which a lot of cameras do shoot. But having the ability to shoot 4K 120 and HD even in 240 frames per second is awesome. Let's talk about durability and reliability. I can honestly say, hands down, I never had an issue with this camera. It never turned off on me, it never overheated, and I have used this for hours up on end. So in terms of reliability, I've never used a better camera ever. I bought this camera secondhand around 3.5 years ago for $3,000. And the price has dropped, so you can pick it up now anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500, which is great. And by the way, I highly recommend buying most of your gear used if you don't have money to waste, because I've never had any issues buying anything secondhand ever. And you can save a lot of money buying the cameras and spend a little more buying accessories or lenses, which will make your videos better as well. It's definitely worth it. If you do want to take a lot of photos on this camera, I don't know, it takes 12 megapixel stills. It does shoot raw, but they just aren't as sharp as other cameras because there's not just so many megapixels. But if you're not making posters, if you're not looking at it on a big screen, if you're just looking at it at your phone or you want to post something to social media, this is still a perfectly fine stills camera. So price wise, even though it is a lot of money, if you really want it, you should get it. So we talked about all the pros, let's talk about some cons. People sometimes have really strange negative things to say about these cameras because at the end of the day, they are mirrorless cameras and it's a mirrorless camera body, and this is what you are buying. And a lot of people say, I don't like the form factor. Well, then just buy a box style camera, don't buy this one. ND filters you can screw on the lens, you don't need internal ND filters, there's bigger cameras for that. I'm really looking for something to complain about this camera, and if I ever had a complaint, it would be the image and the color science of Sony in general. It does look very digital. The way I would describe it is just, it looks like a corporate video. It's perfect for YouTube videos, it's perfect for corporate videos, but then again, you can color grade in post and do all of these things. So yeah, even this isn't a real complaint. It's just a creative and stylistic choice or preference of mine. Final recommendation, if you have a little bit more money to spend, do buy this camera. The downsides almost do not exist. This is the perfect camera for people that have been taking videos for some time, and even for beginners. For most people, this is really the best option still in 2024 and 2025. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.